Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme. I am the Phantom Menace, he who remains, the master of the deceptive arts, and the thundering voice of the Vasectomites. And today I want to discuss one of the most underhanded, inconspicuous, and quite frankly obtrusive tactics of the counterpart, and that is the issue of sabotage. If you are in the romance wars right now, then you are very likely currently a victim of sabotage. You have been or are being sabotaged in your current relationship by your current partner or counterpart. Yes, the chances are that you are a victim of this insidious strategy, and you would have no way of knowing truly unless you know what to look for and unless somebody points it out to you. And this is what I want us to just take a moment and think about the various ways that you have been sabotaged or delayed, or somebody has done something in your life to somehow prevent your progress. Think about the times when people didn't have to do anything at all, and they went out of their way to sabotage you or to cost you or to make you lose something. And then they came up with the excuse. What upsets me is that when somebody sabotages you, they usually have an excuse waiting, which tells me that for the most part, sabotage is premeditated. And this is something that I intend on demonstrating and proving. Not only that you are a victim of sabotage, but also that the sabotage that you've been a victim to is deliberate. And I'll demonstrate it not only in my own situation. And the only reason I'm doing this is not to be open or transparent. I could care less about transparency. It's so that when I describe what had happened to me, you can see that the same thing is actually happening to you. And when I describe to you what is actually happening, then you'll be able to see it clearly, and you won't be able to unsee it. Now, if you see this as I've described it, but you still continue to proceed, right? In your benderism, in your romance wars or relationships, and you continue to bend the knee to these incompetent, useless people, then you're delusional. If you believe that you will engage with these people and get a completely different outcome to what I'm describing and what other people are describing, right? Then you're lying to yourself, right? By denying what wise philosophers who either avoided the sabotage of the dark dimension of legal matrimony and the dark dimension, and then you ignore the advice of wise philosophers who got married, who were in the dark dimension, who got out of the dark dimension through the strife of divorce and then survive the divorce, and then they're telling you that you've been sabotaged, right, all the way through. And if you still deny this, then one, you're lying to yourself, which means that now the circle of deception is complete. You're not just lying to other people, and they're not just lying to you. You are also lying to yourself. And also, those lies are causing you to be delusional. And part of that is, I mean, I'm okay with you being delusional, right? I'm a little bit delusional myself. But my delusion has limits. And those limits sent me to my urologist's office to get a vasectomy because I was aware of really the tremendous danger that I had allowed myself to be put in. And not only that, I was aware of the circumstances where I could not or would not pull myself out of that situation because number one, there was either a lot to lose and I had already invested into that. And then number two, there was also the risk, of course, of getting somebody pregnant. Right? So then, there's also that, right? If you've gotten this person pregnant and you have kids with them or you're married with them, then there's no telling. There's really no telling what these people can do. Now, for the most part, I find that the sabotage from the counterpart is really the one that's more constant and more insidious. But knee benders use sabotage too, but not nearly as often and as frequently as the counterpart. And it is really the sabotage of the counterpart that has upset me. I mean, both of them, they really upset me for various reasons, And let me tell you one of the biggest reasons. Let me tell you one of the biggest reasons. You see, I'm not the kind of person who would look at what you have and want it so badly that that not only would I not just go straight to the shop and buy my own, that I would want it so badly that I would steal it from you. Do you understand how pathetic that is? Like if I saw a car or a house that I really wanted, all I would simply do is go out into the world to make the money because that's really what you need, right? The house is $1 million. All you need is $1 million and the house is yours. You don't have to steal it or sabotage or do anything like that, right? This is what this is the thing that gets me because in my mind, I cannot think of a single thing that I can have in this that I cannot have in this world, on this earth, on Earth Corporation without money. I could just go and buy the thing that I want. Why would I need to steal anything from you? That's just the first part. The second part is, let me be quite honest with you. Most of you don't have anything that I want. I cannot remember ever walking into somebody's house and seeing something and thinking, oh, I want that. Like there are things on TV, right, where you see things on TV, sometimes on the internet, like tremendous drone footage, or people have the fortune to go to like a luxury island or that kind of thing, and you see that and you think, hey, I'd like to do that. And you just go online and look up the price of a plane ticket and off you go, and now you're having that same experience, right? Beyond that, where it's like really it's more like advertising, I see it more like advertising. In reality, inside a person's home, I cannot ever remember a moment in my life where I walked inside somebody's house just thinking about how some of you people live, where I saw their sofa, where I saw their coffee table, where I saw their TV and thought, oh my God, I have to have that TV. I have to have it. And so badly that if I cannot have it, then you can't have it either. What kind of loser thinks like that? I'm telling you, you are a serious, serious loser if you see something, an item that can be purchased with money, that somebody has purchased, and you think to yourself, there's no way I would ever be able to do that. Just go to the shop and ask them how much it is. They'll tell you, and you can buy it. It's really that simple. That's how this world works. But these people, they cannot get anything of their own. I'm telling you. If you've ever thought of sabotage as I'm going to describe it today, you have to understand that the type of person and personality and minion that would do this is a person who cannot go out and buy something for themselves. They have nothing, they have no money, they have no capacity to earn. Even, I'm telling you, even an average job, they will give you the bond for $1 million house. You can make that kind of money, they'll give you 25 years bond on that $1 million house. But if you cannot get the bond, right? If you are not financially viable enough, then the only thing that remains in your heart is when you see the ancient one pull into his house, into the sanctum of solitude, into the citadel at the end of the time. It's going to crush you. It's going to crush you because you know all he did was pay money for that. And you don't have the money. But let you and I have a look at what sabotage is. And sabotage is described as Now, this is a key word here. Is described as deliberately destroying, damaging, and obstructing something. Deliberate is the operative and functional word here. It is not an accident. This is what you must understand about somebody who sabotages you. And you know you're being sabotaged. It is not an accident. That's why I gave the example of if you have an opportunity to win something, right? Like let's say you're running a race. Let me use a race as an example. And you are about 20 meters, right? A sizable difference, but a distance, but not too long. About 20 meters from the finish. And you have a lead of, say, about 5 or 10 meters. Let's say you have a 10 meter lead, right? It's not too long in seconds, but in distance in a race, when you're pushing ahead, it can be quite a sizable lead. You have a 10 meter lead and you've got 20 meters ahead of you. Literally 5 to 10 steps, right? 7, 8 steps, you're there. Somebody you know walks out of the crowd and trips you just before you get to the finish line, right? They waited the whole race to step out of the crowd, to break the rules and trip you. And what they'll do is they'll pretend they're giving you a hug. You've seen things like that, right? When somebody's about to finish a race and here your kids come running in to give you a hug, right? And it's one thing to trip somebody halfway through, but why do it at the end? I mean, why not wait for me to take those 8 steps and then I'll come back around and give you the hug after I've won, right? It's sabotage. It's sabotage. They went out of their way. It was deliberate. They went out of their way to cost you a victory so that somebody else could have that victory. The definition continues to say that this is especially for political or military advantage. Military advantage. For instance, like the Romance wars that you were in. In a more personal definition, sabotage is described as the act of intentionally trying to stop someone from achieving something. Intentional. Intentional. It is on purpose. You have to understand that. They are intentionally trying to stop you from achieving something or trying to stop something from developing. So you could be trying to develop your career, your channel, your podcast, a collection of some kind. You could be collecting stamps. You could have a collection of stamps dating back to the first what you call this to the first post office, to the original post office, that first stamp that they sold. You could have a copy of that. Do you know how much that would be worth? And they'll just destroy it by throwing it into like a pool of water or something, right? And it's all deliberate. It's all deliberate, right? And you have had this experience and these experiences in your life too. And some of you are actually having these experiences right now. And I'll prove it. I'll prove it. Let me ask you a question. Do you have there's a way that I want to pose this question that is obvious but not obvious. But I'm just gonna say it the way that I intend to say it. Do you have a PlayStation controller that used to work perfectly fine? That was perfectly fine and then suddenly just broke, right? Just suddenly broke. Do you have a remote control where you have all your favorite channels set up just right, and then suddenly you turn off the TV and you turn it back on, and it's returned back to factory settings as if you've done nothing? Has that ever happened to you? Because that's not supposed to be possible. It's not going to happen by accident. A full factory reset with a shutdown can only happen by going through very specific, deliberate steps. And it's not like 3 or 4 steps. It's like 25 individual steps. Then you get to the shutdown. Sorry, to the reset. It's like resetting your phone back to original settings. I mean, you have to go all the way to that specific place in the settings. Then you gotta go into something else. Then you gotta enter your password. Then you gotta decide if you're keeping information or deleting it. Then you gotta press the button. Then it asks you for your password again. Then you agree on the password. Then you press the button again. Then it asks you again, are you sure you want to do this? Then you do it. All right. So it's quite the process, and it cannot happen by accident. Do you have a remote control that used to work just fine, and suddenly that thing is cracked in a way that even you cannot imagine? And it's cracked in a way where it didn't fall to the ground. It must have been thrown. It must have been thrown against something, and it never worked again. And then you replace that remote, and even the new one gets broken. You have all these things. Have you ever had like a coffee maker that you like, that used to make the best coffee? Then suddenly you weren't able to get any more coffee. And you have to understand that these items, the manufacturer will give you like a 10-year warranty on these things. These are not things that are supposed to be broken in less than 2 years. They'll give you a 10-year warranty on those things. Kettles, toasters, microwaves, all kinds of things, right? Any electric devices, right? Did you ever have any of those that have suddenly broken in just inexplicable ways? I have. I have, right? I've had each and every single one of those things destroyed in my life, right? And I know you have too. And it's like every home, and I mean every single home that I've ever been to that has a PlayStation, the PlayStation controller doesn't work. Of that, I'm sure. I cannot remember having been to somebody's house where you play the PlayStation and both controllers work at the same time. No way. One of them has to be broken and the other one is absolutely perfect. Doesn't that sound like sabotage? How can one be just perfect, and the other one is broken? I can explain this to you. Because it's sabotage. The counterpart broke one and kept the other. She broke yours and kept the one for the child. Because if both of them are messed up, she knows the kid is going to be upset. But if the kid has his one and yours is broken, then the kid can play and then you have to be frustrated. That's the purpose of this, to cause you frustration, anger, to upset you, to disappoint you, to set you up, right? To cause damage, right? What was that definition? Let me go back to it. It says deliberately destroying or damaging something for personal, political, or military advantage. So they know that by damaging your things, you are at a disadvantage, right? You are somehow at a disadvantage. You have a kettle, you have a coffee maker every morning. They know that you get that cup of coffee, it gives you that kick that you need, and you have a fantastic day. And now, no more coffee. That means your entire day is ruined. And you know I'm right, right? You ever have a toaster? Like if you're a person who likes toast, right? And you buy a toaster, and suddenly you put your toast in and the toaster just doesn't go down anymore. Suddenly just doesn't go down. Something, this the spring is broken. Something that cannot even be seen with the naked eye. Somebody got in there and took that spring off its panel, off its axis, of whatever the spring stands on. Now your thing doesn't go down, and if it goes down, it doesn't go up. Or if you turn it on, it flips the main. So now you're in darkness. Every time you want to make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you're in darkness. I've seen people that have homes where they have like a collection of like three or four or five kettles and coffee makers, all broken in various different inexplicable ways. This one does this one does that. The water on this one doesn't come out. With this one, you plug it in, it kicks out the main. That one, it doesn't heat up. All kinds of things. All kinds of things I've seen. And I've seen them everywhere. And I noticed that, wait a minute, there's a pattern here. There's a pattern here, right? All those things are broken in almost the same way. Now, they are different, but they're the same. It's never a complete total destruction. It's always like some little tiny annoyance where the thing kind of works, but it doesn't work. Right? So, for instance, you'll have a PlayStation controller. I had a PlayStation controller where if you let go of it, it just goes up, right? So if you're playing a game and you want your character to move left and you let go of the controller, they just keep moving straight up, jump off a cliff or something to their own doom. So you have to keep your finger constantly like on the button, you know what I mean? Or on the maneuver controller, because otherwise then your character moves off in inexplicable directions, right? Just ending up wherever they want, right? You've had these things. You've had these things, right? Suddenly, like the collection of kettles that I'm talking about. This is somebody that I actually know. Like on the one hand, it doesn't flip. The switch is broken, so the rest of the kettle is fine. But it's just that one thing. On the other one, the top doesn't close. So it closes, but when you remove it, it separates, and it shouldn't separate. So somebody broke the lid off the top of the kettle, right? In another one, the kettle just boils and boils and boils and boils and boils and never stops. So it'll boil until the water runs out, and it'll just keep boiling until it burns. Things like that. It's like those things are impossible. Those things are impossible, right? And let me say something on behalf of electronics companies and manufacturers. You get what you pay for with these companies, right? This is why also you don't send the item back. This is why when your PlayStation controller breaks, you don't put it in the box and take it back to the company and say, hey, you gave me a 10-year warranty on an item that's broken in less than 16 months. Because in the back of your mind, you know that this is physical damage and they won't accept it. They'll test that device in the warehouse, right there, or at the shop, right there in front of you. And what they're going to do is very simply, because they got the PlayStation plugged in already, because they have people just like you coming in all the time. They'll just remove the one that they've already got connected and just plug yours in and demonstrate to you that this is physical damage. And that's why you have never returned that remote, you never returned that coffee maker, you never returned that kettle, you never returned that microwave, you never returned that PlayStation, and you never will, because you know they're going to tell you, this is you. You damaged this. And you'll know that no, no, no. There's no way that I could have possibly damaged this. Right? These people will give you a good product at a fair price. And if you use the product as intended, if you use the product correctly, I assure you it will last you for years and years. And you know this. I've had products where the wear and tear that I experienced, and you know this to be true for yourself, was like wear and tear, and it was in very specific places. So like if you have like a phone and you're always scrolling on the right side of that phone, eventually it has like it's especially if you have like a screen protector, right? There's like some residual. You can't see it all the way through, but there's a residual that indicates that, oh, your finger is mostly on this spot, right? This is where you scroll the most, right? And and these devices, like I say, right, they will keep going, right? They will keep going and keep going and keep going. The ink will run out. Like I said, your fingerprint will be there, or your thumbprint will be there, all kinds of things. But it will not affect the use, the function, the joy, and the pride of ownership that comes with the product. Unless you have a counterpart. I've noticed this myself, in terms of this, right? Consider this: the things, the devices, the appliances, the electronics, the items that all broke in my life and during my time in the romance wars in these relationships. They were all replaced at great cost, I might add. Again and again, some of these things, right? They were all replaced and then would break, and then you replace it and then it breaks, and you replace it and then it breaks, right? Then you stop dating and you stop getting into relationships and nothing breaks. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You stop dating. I want you to try this if you can, if you have the fortitude and the self discipline. If you stop dating and look and see how many of your items in your house break, simple things, I assure you, you will not even break a cup. You will not even drop a single cup in a way that will break that cup. You'll be cautious, right? And after leaving these relationships, not a single item, I mean not a single item, has broken under the warranty. So for example, things that had a 2 year warranty, they went for like 3 years before I started to see any wear and tear. Right? Things that had a 10-year warranty, I didn't even reach the 10-year warranty. Like there are devices where they would update the device, like the fruit company, they will update devices, right? And they'll pull out like something spectacular. And I may want that new device. I will just take in my old device and trade that in. And I promise you, each and every single device that I've traded in, I have gotten the maximum trade in value. The maximum trade in value. When they plug it in to do the diagnostics, what they find is there's barely any wear and tear. The device is put in a cover before it even leaves the shop, and then it's put into a screen cover. Right, so there's a screen protector and a back cover. I never leave the shop without a screen protector and a back cover. Like that's the kind of person I am. Like I pay extra for these conveniences. The protective measures. I call them conveniences, but I pay extra for these protective measures because I know I can return the device at any time for an exchange, for an upgrade, for a refund. But if you have a counterpart, that never happens. Why have you not taken your PlayStation controller back to where you bought it with the receipt? Right? Why did you throw out the box? Why did you throw out the receipt? Things that you would have never done had you not had a counterpart. You threw out the box, you threw out the receipt, knowing full well that if there's a problem, they're gonna want both the box with all of the plastics and the receipt. Why haven't you taken it back? Because, or better yet, call the company. Because you know that that device is solid. It is solid. And if it is broken, it is because your counterpart broke it. You never dropped it. You never put it anywhere other than the table. You never put it on the floor. It's not possible to put a controller on the floor. Just think about that. There's never been a circumstance in your life where this thing was damaged. But at some point in the last 3 or 4 days, you were with a counterpart and now your device doesn't work. Just think about that. I mean, I've had things like earphones where only one side works, where these earphones were perfectly fine. Like now, I have earphones that I have had for years. You know, those Bluetooth earphones where I've had them for so long that even the battery started to falter a little bit, right? And then I thought, hey, is my battery dying? And then I realized, no, I had put it in a way that, it was affecting the battery life. But you will have earphones where only the one side works and the other side is absolutely perfect, right? You'll have like Bluetooth speakers where suddenly it was connecting fine and then it disconnected and never connected again, right? And then sometimes it connects, other times it doesn't connect, and you just end up throwing it away because in your heart somewhere, man, because if you had any doubt about the manufacturing quality of that product, you would have taken it straight back to the manufacturer, but you didn't, right? Now I have Bluetooth speakers that connect so well, and I've had these for like 3 years, right? They connect so well. I got like the party speakers, right? Not for like partying, but like I was like, what's the point of like surround sound when you get up like one powerful speaker? Then I got the surround sound and the speaker, right? But the speaker that I'm talking about is so effective that when I turn on my device, it connects to that speaker immediately. And when I turn on another device, that device, like if I'm playing Bluetooth on two devices and I start playing on another device, it will automatically pause the one device and play on the other device. I promise you, this thing is immaculate. And I don't know how many devices I have it connected to, right? It even connects sometimes when I don't want it. And this is how I know that it'll connect from one device to another automatically, right? As you're playing things. Because it'll connect to things that I don't want it to. And it'll play things and sounds that I don't want it to. I had a computer once where suddenly one button stopped working. Something that never happened before and never happened after. Like I bought when I was a young man, I needed a computer in a rush, and I bought a second-hand computer just as a short-term measure. It had everything that I wanted, but it was like a short-term measure. That was a mistake because that computer lasted for years. I couldn't get rid of that thing. I had to just sell it because it was such a good computer. I didn't want to throw it away. And I ended up just selling it. And I thought, you know what? The previous owner must have had the same problem. He must have thought that, it wasn't, it was just a little bit slow. It was just a little bit slow than what was necessary for the technology of the time. But it was a very good computer otherwise. Once you get used to how it moves and works, it wasn't like terribly slow, it was just marginally slow. But you get used to it very quickly and you become very efficient with your device. Couldn't get rid of it. Not one single thing ever faltered on that device. I had things where the chargers, where you buy a charger and then suddenly the charger's broken. You buy a new charger, suddenly that charger's broken. Now I have chargers that never even they never even tear, let alone break. And you've had the same thing. You have had the exact same experience. I would have gone into like crazier things. But then there are people who will say, no, I've never experienced divorce. I've never experienced that. But these little minor annoyances, everybody's had them. I know with the earphones, with only the one side, every single man has had that problem. And then when you're single, all your earphones seem to be working just right. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? I'm talking about things like backup hard drives, smartwatches, right? You name it. All things that should have lasted years and years and years. All those things, like I've had a backup hard drive now after with this counterpart, after it all ended. The backup hard drive that I've had now, I've had it for years. It's almost a decade. Now that I think about it, it's almost a decade. It's like 2 terabytes. Really, it's been that long. It's one of those things that because I have so much memory on my other devices, yeah, I'm the guy who buys, who pays extra for extra memory. And I'm not talking like the little memory. I go all the way to 1 terabyte. I don't have nothing less than a terabyte of memory on any device, right? So, yeah, I'm that guy. No, wait, I have 500 gigs on my phone, but I have two phones. So there you go, right? Each of them 500 gigs. So it kind of works out, right? But these things were meant to last for years and years and years, all broken suddenly. And none of them ever did I go think to go back to the manufacturer and accuse the manufacturer of selling me a dysfunctional product. No. No. In my heart of hearts, I always knew, as do you. You know? And I'll have you know that since then, nothing has broken. Nothing has broken. I have cups, ceramic cups that when you drink like tea out of a ceramic cup after like a while, like it stains, like the brownness of the tea kind of stains, and then you gotta like scrub it out even harder than just what you would like a regular wash, and even then it still doesn't come off. You gotta use that steel sponge to scrape it off. You know what I mean? And then get a knife and scrape that off too. And then maybe you get some of it off, and now you've got knife scratches in the middle of your cup, inside your cup. You're probably better off just leaving it. I have cups that I've had for that long, where I've drank so many cups of tea, so many cups of coffee, so much hot chocolate in the winter that the cup itself has stained beyond the manufacturer's intentions. Nothing has broken. Clothes, shoes, accessories, they all seem to endure. They all seem to last. And it's all because I refuse to allow a stranger, some loser, some criminal, a vandal, and a counterpart to come into my life ever again and start breaking the things that I've paid a lot of money for. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm the kind of guy who likes nice things. So if I'm going to go buy a tablet, like I told you, I'm buying the top of the range with the most amount of memory. I cannot tell you how many times people have tried to knock my tablet off the table. And it's not the little one, it's the big one. No, not the big one, the bigger one, the big one, right? You know which one I'm talking about, the one where you're spending it and you like, $1,000? Yeah, $1,000. Yes, it costs $1,000, and yes, I paid it, and yes, it was worth it. And I think to myself, am I really gonna allow these criminals to come and vandalize my things over and over and over again? And for what? I don't even know what you're getting. I don't even know what you're getting by tolerating these people. You know, my things seem to be surviving. And so am I. You know, sometimes I have a desire to bring a counterpart into my sanctum of solitude in the citadel at the end of time. Sometimes I'll even have the desire of bringing like a family member that I know, I don't know if I should trust this person, they'll sabotage me, and I'll bring them into my life. And then I look at all the cool things that I've got. I'm sitting here with a time machine. I've got advanced AI robotics from a far flung world at a future date, functioning devices, clothes that fit, that are comfortable, that are warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And I know, I just know, you bring a counterpart into this, they will break your things and claim it was an accident. These people ruin everything. You know the kind of people that you bring to your house and you offer them something and they look at your house and you can tell that the mood has changed. The mood has changed. Like it was one thing when they saw how many levels and stories your house had from the outside, and then they see that it is actually fully furnished from the inside. They want to rip through every single item you have, your sofa, your carpet, your accessories, your decorations. They'll even rip down your lights, and they will. These are the people who will sit there and cry in your shower, and you're like, what's wrong? And then they'll get up and tear apart your bathroom for no reason. For no reason. And you'll be stuck saying, what's wrong? What's wrong? While she's tearing apart your things. This is why their parents kicked them out of the house, by the way. If you're wondering, how can a father get to a point where he throws his own daughter, his own flesh and blood, out and says, get out, because she keeps breaking expensive things. She gets upset, she gets in a mood, right? She breaks the TV. He replaces the TV, she breaks it again. Because now the TV has become a symbol of divisiveness, right? You broke the TV, it wasn't enough. Now, every time you see a TV, you feel like this is a symbol for your liberation and your disobedience. And eventually the father's like, you know what, just go. Go break somebody else's TV. Go tear apart somebody else's furniture. Go spill things all over. You know, like in my analogy, you'll invite somebody over and you'll offer them something to drink, and they'll say, give me something like a hot chocolate, right? With like extra sugar and make it really sticky. And as soon as you put it in their hands, like even if you turn it in a way where they have to hold the handle, which is relatively cool, they'll just drop it. Somehow it'll slip out of their hand. The champagne bottle will slip out of their hand. Now you have to clean champagne all over your floor. Now you have to clean hot chocolate from all over your white tiles. And you know you're not going to get all that brown out from that hot chocolate. You know you're not going to get all of that out. You're going to spend all night mopping, and she'll be saying how sorry she is. You're a grown ass adult. You don't know how to hold a cup of tea. You're going to tell me that you dropped it because it was hot. Are you kidding me? It's a cup of goddamn tea. It's supposed to be hot. You drink tea all the time, every day in your house. You said tea was your favorite drink. Now you can't hold a cup of hot chocolate. Oh, if it was a cup of tea, I'd be able to hold it better. I'm so sorry. Now I gotta clean up this hot chocolate, right? Now I gotta pick up all this broken ceramic that's gonna cut me tomorrow, because I'm not going to be able to pick up all of it. And then now I'm supposed to be chilling. I'm mopping the floor. I'm picking up dirty, broken glass, dirty, broken ceramic, right? I'm finding shards of ceramic and tiles and all kinds of things under my furniture. Not only that, you chip my tiles when you drop this hot cup on the floor full of coffee, so it went full steam down. It's like, why bring these people into your home, man? And you know I'm right. This has happened to you. Somebody has accidentally dropped a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a glass of alcohol, a bottle of alcohol all over your floor, all over your rug, all over your furniture. And you tolerated that because you thought it was okay. It's an accident. Let me overlook it. Let's continue. We can clean this up. I have to be charming. You should have kicked her out. You should have kicked her out. I cannot tell you how much money I've spent buying and replacing and buying and replacing things that were practically brand new and in perfect working condition until they were sabotaged. By the way, this is why rich people drive regular cars and wear regular clothes. They're not trying to fit in with you losers. Really, they don't want to fit in with you losers. There's a reason why they wear regular clothes outside, but they live in gated communities. In their house, they've got all kinds of luxuries. And that reason is because you don't have access to their home. They've put measures in place to keep you away from them and the things that they love. But when they are outside, they will wear things that are cheap, that are easily replaceable, that you, who is also cheap and easily replaceable, can identify with. Right? Because they know you're going to key their car, you're going to slash their tires, you're going to try to grab their necklaces or their chains, you're going to be ripping their earrings off their ears, their wedding rings off their rings, you're going to be grabbing their watches off their wrists, right? You're going to be flirting with their model woman, right? The guy worked hard to get $1 billion to get a model. Now you want to get in there for free. Knee benders will sabotage your masculinity by trying to steal your woman. It is their pride, their point of pride, man. you know. And if you have friends that are knee benders, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have friends and your friends are knee benders, and if you're a knee bender, you've also tried to sleep with your friend's girl, right? And your boys have tried to sleep with your girl, right? And when that doesn't work, they'll just try something else. You know, they will break something, right? You ever seen your boy, he's like, let me drive your car, and suddenly he wants to do donuts. And it's like, no, 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 stop. And as soon as you say stop, he crashes into something. It's like, really? Then he'll tell you he has no money to pay for the car. Of course you don't, you're poor. Things like that. I'm telling you, this is what they do. They'll flirt with your woman, they'll break your things, and then they'll choose violence. What they'll do is they'll tell a joke to try and belittle you and mock you. And if you respond with a better or wittier insult, then it's violence. Right? If you prove that he's a loser, he's dumb, he's broke, and he's trying to be funny and flirty, and you keep shutting him down, eventually it's violence. And you're standing there thinking, wait a minute, you insulted me. All I did was respond to your insult, and now you're insulted by me defending myself? Yeah, he is. And it's all because he's jealous, you see. When rich people know this, they know that you're envious, they know that you're jealous, you know. Now, you don't expect that your woman is envious of jealous and jealous of the things that you have. She has no collections, right? She has never collected a damn thing in her life. She tried to collect some purses, and that was ridiculous and boring. She got no electronics. You know what I mean? She doesn't have a thing that she enjoys. Like, if you like coffee and you make gourmet coffee, she doesn't have anything like that. All the things that she enjoys are things that other people have made. She has no pride of making something for herself that has immediate effects, and then you take it and you drink it and it's spectacular. She's jealous. These people are jealous. That's why they break your things, they sabotage your dreams, right? And they bring down your ambition because they have no dreams and no ambitions of their own. I'm telling you the truth, and I'm going to prove it to you. But most of these people have no dreams, no vision, no stance, no message, no ideas of their own, and it frustrates them to see somebody who can stand on their own and do their own thing. They hate that. And then let me prove it to you now. All of their dreams are somebody else's dreams. The car he wants to drive is somebody else's car already, right? The house he wants to live in is somebody else's house. The woman he wants is somebody else's woman. The money he wants to earn, oh, such and such a billionaire earns this much. That's my dream. I want to earn this much money. That's not your dream. That's somebody else's dream. You know? That's somebody else's life that you are trying to mimic. And because you cannot, because you have no capacity to achieve anything like that person, if you could buy those devices, you would just simply get your own and enjoy it. If you could get that house, have that job, live that life, be with those model women, you would be with them right now. If you could live that dream, you would live that dream, but you're not living that dream because it's not your dream. You have nothing. I'm telling you, you don't even have as much as a character and a personality. Everything about you comes that people like and enjoy comes from a storybook, a movie, or a rap song. And I'm telling you the truth. There is the car you want to drive, the place you want to live in. It's all like, oh, I want to live a life like this movie, or I want to be like that character. This is the truth. These people are not real people within them. And when they see you have real things, they want to bring them down and break them, thinking that it's going to bring you to the same level as them. And then when you replace it, it upsets them. And then you replace it again, it just shows your depth, your character, and the extent, the true extent of your wealth, and it upsets them because they have nothing. They are nothing. It would be one thing to be a loser, which is somebody who tried to achieve something and failed. But these people aren't even that, because losers actually exist, right? A loser tried to do something. I tried to write a book. The book didn't sell. I lost. Okay. You don't even have a book. You have a vision from a scene from a movie. You have a dream that is based on the fictional character that somebody else was playing. You have a dream of a lie that somebody told you about another lie that somebody else manufactured out of the figment of their imagination. It is less than fake. It just doesn't even exist. And that is who you are, a non-factor. That's why you act as you do. Both counterpart and knee benders should be kept as far away from you as possible. Keep them away from your things. Keep them away from the things that you like. Keep them away from the things that you enjoy. Keep them away from the things that you need, no matter how. Keep them away from even a teaspoon. They will destroy everything, these people, that they don't have. And I'm telling you, they have nothing. What they do have, they owe to the bank for the most part. And if you bring them close to the things that you care about, they're just going to break it. Out of jealousy, out of spitefulness, out of weakness and cowardice. And I promise you, they will break things. And just go through all the things. Look at those earphones of yours. The earphones where only the left side works and not the right side. Right? Look at that device where the screen kind of works, but it's flickering in a funny way. Right? The kettle that boils but doesn't turn off. Right? Look at all those things and tell me, what kind of person would do that? A person that you're paying bills for, supporting, you're there for them, you're loving them, you're buying them gifts, you're celebrating all their nonsense for them, and all they do is just keep bringing you down and sabotaging you. This is just a small fraction of it. I don't even want to know what happens in these marriages. I don't even want to know, but I do. But I don't want to know. I don't want to experience it for myself, but I want to hear it from you. They set you up, they broke your things, they destroyed your dreams, and they tried to destroy you. Just like the things we're going to see in today's article. And many of you are living through it right now. The title is, for today's article, 5 Ways People Can Sabotage Their Relationships. Number 2, they threaten to leave, often over minor disputes. This article was written by Courtney S. Warren and reviewed by Ray Parker. I think both are Dr. Warren and Dr. Parker. It was published first on the 19th of December in 2023. It comes from our friends over at psychologytoday.com. And of course, there is the link to the actual article, should you want to go and have a look at it for yourself. But let's read it here together. It starts with some key points. Number 1, people often unintentionally sabotage their romantic relationships. Unintentionally sabotage. That's a contradiction. Because a sabotage, as we defined it, this is why you got to define things for yourself. We define the word sabotage as deliberate and intentional. So you cannot have something that is sabotage and is unintentional, right? But you sabotage their romantic relationship. 2, staying emotionally unavailable, threatening to leave, and being passive-aggressive can harm intimacy. I'm sure it can. Fear. Difficulty with trust and low self esteem make people more likely to sabotage their relationships. So, in my opening statement, I discussed about sabotaging of opportunities and meaningful items to you. But here we're going to focus on how people sabotage, and by people I mean these counterparts sabotage their own relationships. So they don't just sabotage you, they'll sabotage the relationship itself and just be miserable. And just be miserable. They just court misery, these people. Do not sabotage your new relationship with your last relationship's poison. This is from Steve Maraboli. This is absolutely about the counterpart. They will take out things that happened to them in their past on you, and you have no idea what the hell is going on. You're just like, what are you talking about? And she's going through a memory or something, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense to me, and she'll be upset that it doesn't make sense to you. This is from Unapologetically You, Reflections on Life and Human Experience by Steve Maraboli. It says here, self sabotage in romantic relationships generally refers to patterns of destructive behaviors that impair a healthy connection, yes, and justify ending the bond. And when done consistently over time, these often unconscious behaviors would lead to relationship tension and breakups. So they talk about destructive behaviors that impair healthy connections. So, on the one hand, you had what you thought was a healthy connection, something different, right? This girl is not like all the other girls. And then you find out she is, right? And in fact, she isn't like all the other girls, she's worse. You know what I mean? Um, Breaking things, flirting, disrespectful, undermining, all kinds of things. And they'll do this on purpose. They will wait, like your counterpart will wait until she's dressed up, showered, shaven, makeup, hair, and then she'll flirt, you know. And all the while you're sitting there at home and she's in those 5 days stanking pajamas, acting a fool. Acting a fool, and then you go out and suddenly, you know, the fangs are out, and you're like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? It's deliberate, man. All of this is deliberate. There are no accidents. There are no accidents. So it says five self sabotaging behaviors that can destroy relationships. Number one, staying emotionally unavailable. This is absolutely a list for counterparts because me, I have no more emotions for these people. I actually don't think I ever really did. I developed them, but quickly undeveloped them and have no intention of developing them again. After this nonsense, I cannot imagine you would want to marry somebody who destroys your like expensive products. You mean you spend $1,000 on this thing, $1,000 on something, and she'll drop it. She'll drop it. This is a person who can carry a baby. You can carry a baby, but you can't hold a phone. You know what I mean? These kinds of things, man, I don't know. When you avoid getting close to someone of fear of getting hurt, you make it impossible to develop an intimate relationship with somebody new. These are the moments when you catch yourself saying, I can't go through a heartbreak again. Okay, this isn't me. So I don't get too close. This emotional unavailability will keep new mates at arm's length, unable to really connect and attach to you. Right. This is not a problem that I have. This is not a problem that I have. You see, when you know yourself as well as I do, I'm a person who prides productivity, right? And this is why I'm good at what I do. A person who also prides themselves in productiveness and consistency, which is why I know that I will be here tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, not so sure. But as for tomorrow, I'm certain I will be here, right? It's also my off day, so in terms of exercise, so I know I'll be there too. By the way, this is why I take my off day in the middle of the week, right? Some people will take like their off day for exercise on the weekend. That make no sense to me, right? I take my off day right in the middle of the week where it's the busiest, where I actually need the time away from running to do other things. On weekends, I can run twice as much. On my day off, I can run twice as much. So why would I make my off day the same day as my day off? You know? But yeah, anyway, you know, I try to be productive, right? And knowing that I'm going to be with someone with whom, if I invest in something, they will undermine and undo that investment, including the investment that I make in them. Think about the fathers of these counterparts. No one has invested more in a counterpart than a father. For a father to get to the point where he's like, you know what, this person needs to go. I need to get them a husband. I need to get them somewhere. I need to get this person out of my house. You know, there are videos online. You can go online and find videos of fathers who want nothing more than to kick their children out. Because these people are breaking things that you invest in. Like you buy a device, the same device that I'm using now to record these videos. I bought that device particularly with a tremendous amount of memory so I could store everything that I do until the moment I was ready to delete it, which means I was then saving the complete product and deleting the incomplete product. To have somebody then break this thing, and I'm intending obviously to use this thing for years. I'm not intending on using this for a short term thing, right? So I have this 1 terabyte worth of memory, and then I have 2 terabytes worth of backup memory. This is going to be years worth of information, right? And then, of course, it's also backed up online. Years worth of information. And a new product that I'm trying to establish, right? By the way, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Let's not get carried away with this nonsense, right? This is part of the reason why I got a vasectomy. I just didn't want to risk it. You know, you tell a counterpart you don't want to have kids, guess what? She's getting pregnant. You know, ask yourself, when has an intelligent man ever given away something valuable? And then you'll understand why fathers want to get their daughters married, because they are a low return on investment. Not just low. They don't, it's like it's one thing to get low returns. It's another thing to get no returns at all. It's another altogether to constantly be just burning money at something that produces absolutely nothing productively. But this is what you guys putting yourself into, right? This is what you're putting yourself into. And I for one would happily go through another heartbreak than to be in another happy relationship. You know, it's not about the heartbreak for me. It's really about the point that I'm going to keep making an investment into something that is a loser. This is the issue that you need to contend with. You are putting money into something that is not going to generate nothing. Every cent you've ever spent on that person has been for nothing. I promise you, every time you remodel the house, it's for nothing. The cars you bought are for nothing. That wedding that you're still paying off, worth absolutely nothing. And the suffering you go through in your divorce, I promise you, that suffering was for nothing. Forget heartbreak. You're just in a losing situation. You're just in a losing situation and you're carrying around a ton, and I mean a ton, of dead weight. So the second way that people sabotage their relationship is threatening to leave. Um, you know, there are some people who threaten to leave, and it's a real threat. I'm one of those people. I'm here today because I threatened to leave and I was tested. And now here I am with you, the Bachelor Supreme, single once again, right? I was tested too many times, too many times. Not just by threatening to leave, but I was tested too many times. And many times I told them, I'm going to leave you and you'll never see me again. And they thought I was joking. And I made the example. I said to them, consider the fact that I'm single and available for you now. How exactly do you think I became that way? You think it's just been my entire life like this? Just nothing, nothing, nothing. No, there was another. There were others, several others, and all of them are gone. So how does one get into the situation? I left. And to the point where you could spend years with me and never encounter a single person that I was ever in a relationship with me. And if I saw them and they saw me, they would be shocked because I'm the last person they ever expect to see or speak to ever again. It's as frequently threatening to leave a relationship like communicating that you want a or are fine divorce ally. Oh, I don't know. A fin divorce ally fed up are finally fed up. You were, oh, I see, this whole thing got jumbled up. I'm going to do it again the way it was meant to be. Frequently threatening to leave a relationship, like communicating that you want a divorce or are finally fed up, or physically storming out of a room in times of conflict, can sabotage your relationships by creating instability and insecurity. Now you have conflict. Now you have conflict. Somebody's standing there being finally fed up. I'm that person. I'm the person who was finally fed up. I cannot tell you how many earphones I have bought. And then I've never bought another earphone again. Like, the last thing I'm concerned about is earphones. I used to have problems with earphones all the time. Just the best quality earphones, just not functioning, just not working, dying 6 months in, you know. Um, and that still upsets me in this small way. But eventually you have enough, you know. And this kind of temper tantrum where you say, oh, I've had enough, and you're storming out of a room, and you know, there's a conflict, you can't deal with the conflict, you storm out of a room. I'm not dealing with that. I'm really not doing none of that. I have no interest in any of that. Not for a single second. You guys can have all that. Apparently, this is sabotage. This to me is just, it's too much, man. Maybe this is why I've never been married. I just can't. I just really can't do this. You're going to walk out of the room. What must I do now? Get up off this comfortable chair, put down my drink, and walk after you so we can spend an hour talking about your emotions. Not interested. Been there, done that. No, thank you. Not doing that twice. In general, you only want to threaten to leave when you mean it and intend to follow through. In times of intense conflict, physically leaving your partner's space if you feel unsafe and need a moment to regroup, or maybe healthy in the short term. In times of intense conflict, what's that, violence? You see, these are the kind of things I'm talking about. Now you have intense conflict. Think of the fact that if you were single, you wouldn't be in an intense conflict. Think of the fact that if you, by the way, these are ways people are sabotaging their relationships. These things happen all the time. all the time. She's upset, she walks out of the room. If you weren't in this relationship, you wouldn't be having to deal with this. You wouldn't have to be dealing with any of these things, you know? Um, it says, I'm not doing that intense conflicts. However, doing it habitually, in other words, continuously, without other conflict resolution strategies, really helps relationships survive in the long run. All your relationships are going to fail anyway. This is one of the things, like, that you have to know. All my relationships failed, and I have no intention of repeating that failure. At the cost, you know how much it costs to date, how much money you're spending on failure, man. And now you have to work on resolution strategies. No way, no way. That just sounds like a headache. And by the way, your resolution strategies resolve nothing. You're fighting over nothing. You're fighting over a fear she has that she heard about. Like, she heard about this a rare condition that happens to women in the Amazon. And now she's worried that she might have that rare condition, having never been to the Amazon. Right? Now you have to take an hour out of your life and explain to this person that, by the way, you have never been to the Amazon. That level of incompetence is too much for me. It's just way too much. And she'll think, well, what if I go to the Amazon one day? You're not going to the Amazon. You are not going to the Amazon. You can barely get off the couch, you know. And if you did, it's a rare condition in the Amazon. So now you're going to go there and encounter a rare condition. And then what? I mean, like, these are the things that you have to deal with and explain to these people that their problems are not really in their head. And then they feel insulted. Oh, they hate their delusions, you know? But now you're fighting over nonsense, man. Now you need resolution strategies. You know, these are very good reasons to end a relationship. The fact that I need a problem to resolve a conflict resolution strategy. The fact that you need a conflict resolution strategy is an indication that you are not in a good place, you know? And you're probably going to need a new microwave. Passive aggressive communication, when somebody shows that they're upset through their nonverbal body language or words, but avoid discussing it directly, it's called passive aggressive communication. I have no idea what this even looks like. I have no idea what this even looks like. If you have a problem with me, you're just going to have to come out and tell me, because I'm very happy ignoring you. Like, if you're not going to say anything, I would happily sit down and find a new article for tomorrow's video. Like, I got things to do. I'm doing them right now. So if you're not going to be talking, I'm not about to try and find out what's wrong with you. And if you tell me, I'm just going to tell you I don't care. Right? I really don't care. Especially now that I got this vasectomy, I'm not caring, not for nothing. You know, before the vasectomy, you might have gotten something. But now, nah, not even the pretense. Not even pretending to care. You know, you want to sit there and pout? Just do it quietly. For example, a passive aggressive response after a fight might be, I'm fine, everything is good, even though it's clear that you're angry, sad, or generally upset. You got to the point where they responded with, I'm fine. You actually asked them if they're okay. Man, you guys are better people than I am. Much better people than I am. You know, if you have been, it says here, after a fight, a passive aggressive response might be something to the effect of, I'm fine, everything is good. You have a fight with me? You think I'm going to come back and ask you how you're doing? If you argue with me in a serious and intense way where you escalate beyond a certain point, there are family members I mean siblings, people that we grew up together, same house, same mother, same father, same schools, same background. They had an argument with me over nothing. And I told them, you're arguing with me over nothing. And then they escalated it. And I said, if you're going to make this an issue like this, you're not the person I'm going to be dealing with. And then I told them, that's number one. Number two, I'm not about to be taking criticism from somebody who's obese. So, this was a sibling of mine. Never spoke to that person again. I could care less. I really could care less. I'll see you at the funerals. You know what I mean? I'll see you at the funerals. We'll be cordial. I'll shake your hand and move on. But I'm only accepting an apology that was equal to the magnitude and the passion of the insults. So you're going to have to apologize to me as loudly as you insulted me. And until you hit that octane, I'm not accepting nothing. You have the gall to insult me at that extent and then send me a text message as an apology. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I want passionate apologies. 1,000 apologies. It says here this kind of behavior can sabotage relationships. Indeed, it does. It makes it very difficult to resolve conflict and understand the true perspective of your partner because nothing is directly addressed. These people, you know why they don't address things directly? Because they know that they're wrong, right? So they know that they're never going to the Amazon. They know it's not an issue. What they want to do is discuss a topic that is interesting to them. But they know that this topic is not interesting to anybody else. In fact, this topic is not interesting at all, right? But they feel like they want to discuss it. And the only way they're going to actually get the attention enough to discuss it is if they make it a problem, right? And then now you're discussing the issue, you're talking about the Amazon, the distance, and all that, and all that. And now she's like, well, yeah, sure, but what about this? And now you're engaged in a conversation that you don't really care about, right? It's all about attention, and it's a waste of your time. And I'm telling you this again. If these people were so valuable, why does your own father kick you out? If you say your father didn't kick you out, okay. Name one single father in the history of the world that has ever gone to the husband of their daughter and said, you divorce my daughter right now. I want my daughter back home with us where she belongs. Our family is struggling without our daughter. We need her back. Never happened. Every time she tries to come back, they tell her to go back to her husband. You know what I'm saying? So, and these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why. Other than breaking all your things, then they are annoying like this. You know what I mean? There is a problem that's not really a problem. They won't address it directly because they know it's useless. But they don't have anything else to talk about and they want to be interesting. Right? It's not that the topic is interesting. They are interested in the topic and they believe that because they are interesting, that and the topic is that is that they're interesting, and if they're interested in the topic, therefore the topic is interesting. And if you are interested in them, you should be interested in the things that they are interested in, which of course is insanity. Because no one has ever been interested in anything that these people are interested in. Even the movies they make about these people always flop because nobody cares. Nobody even cares to watch you as a fictional character. It says here, it's left up to your partner to figure out how you feel and why, which they may or may not be able to do. How am I supposed to know what you're thinking? When even you don't know what you think, you can't even make sense of your own thoughts. And you want me to sit here and tell you, oh, by the way, this is this and this and that. Just for you to tell me, no, it's not. And then manufacture a different opposite emotion. No, I'm not actually feeling sad. I'm feeling happy, and I'm sad because I know I won't be happy forever. Man, shut the hell up. Just stop talking. The problem is you want to be heard, but you have nothing to say. And if you had something to say, there would be 100 million people listening to you. Not only that, you'd be putting out a video every day saying this is an important message. Saying, hey guys, I believe in my message so much that I'll put out a video, as many videos as I can, saying the same thing over and over. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Not gonna get that from these people. Not at all. Number four, belittling your partner. This is a famous one. Directly belittling your partner by calling them names or assuming an air of superiority is problematic because it creates a highly judgmental, often contentious dynamic with your partner. Let me finish this. It also assumes that they are worth less than you, wrong or insignificant, which isn't going to make your partner feel cared about or respected. Belittling your partner. When somebody feels little to begin with, when you look at them and they're smaller than you in size, they are slower than you, they are weaker than you, they are less logical than you. You know what I mean? And the only thing they can say is they are educated, but they are in a tremendous amount of debt because of that education, and their degree is useless because they cannot use that degree to make any money because nobody values that nonsense. Right? When you are this person, not only that, when you are so broke, you are indebted because you owe a house, you owe a car, you owe student bills, you cannot sustain to maintain yourself and be attractive at the same time because beauty costs, right? Not only that, you've upset everybody you like, right? And everybody that likes you, your parents don't, your father doesn't even want you in the house, right? Every relationship you've ever had has failed and so forth. When you are with somebody who is like that, and I'm describing a counterpart, person who can't pay their bills, and when they do, it's only 16% of the time and only 16% of the money. All their bills are paid late, and when they are paid, they're short, right? I'm talking about these counterparts. You know who I'm talking about, right? These people are small. These people are small in capacity, in mind, in skill, in lifestyle, in earnings, right? In logic, right? The only thing that's real big about them is their delusion, right? Because if they have to face the reality of how really small and insignificant and inconsequential they really are, they would have no purpose to live. Really, just knowing that you can't read, you can't count. When you do read, you read wrong. When you do count wrong, your numbers are always wrong. That's why you have so much debt. And when the numbers are right, they are never on your side. When you are this kind of person, when you look at all your high school grades and you realize that they're all fake because you dropped out in the first semester of university, and they only took you back because your father bought a building. And I know you're saying, well, at least I have a father to buy a building. Yes, indeed. And that's the problem. Because somebody has to buy a building to get you to read a book. This is what I'm saying by tremendous failures with these people. You got to buy a building to get them to read a book. That, quite frankly, I read all those books. I read all those books, and my parents never bought not one single thing for the university. The only thing they paid for was the course. And now you have to buy a building so that this person can read a book. This is the kind of losses that I'm talking about. They are tremendous and staggering. This person that I'm describing is going to try to make themselves your equal. And upon discovering that not only are they not your equal, they should be grateful in having you. This is going to hurt them deep down inside. It is going to spite them. It is going to make them feel disrespected, and they're going to want to right that wrong. And what are they going to do? They're going to break your earphones. Just listen to that. This person wants to right a wrong. And what they do is they break an earphone. So petty, so insignificant, so minuscule, so minute, so small, man. I'm running out of adjectives for small. This is the person that you're bringing into your life. I mean, everything that was destroyed by these counterparts was easily and quickly replaced, including the counterpart themselves. It was just a loss in resources. Resources that, quite frankly, I'd feel that I'd be much better off in having. And this is why, you asked me to go back into a relationship. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I choose my earphones. I choose my microwave. I choose my coffee maker. I really do. I choose my remote control over these counterparts. I have so little regard for these people. I'm surprised you people marry these people. It shocks me every time somebody decides I'm gonna marry a counterpart. I'm like, for what? For what? What are you getting from these people that 1,000 other men did not get 1,000 other times? You need to explain that to me. Apparently, silence is a way to sabotage relationships. So, we'll see. Sometimes the most cutting way to sabotage a relationship is by cutting off contact. This is definitely a counterpart. You think by not talking you're hurting the people. The problem is you talk too much and you don't say nothing. Your thoughts are empty, your feelings are empty, your ideas are ridiculous. You ever have you ever have a counterpart take you to a fair? Have you ever been to a fair? What a waste of time. You're gonna go out on a Saturday morning to go look at some apples. I'm telling you, you're gonna go look at apples and fruits. And she's gonna be standing there comparing one apple to the other, talking about, oh, this apple is from the Netherlands. Man, shut up. I'm sick and tired of these people. I hate everything about fairs. I hate the little tasting things. I hate the colors. I hate the smell. I hate the family, the family feel. And there you are walking around, this person's eating cotton candy, carrying a stupid balloon and those stuffy toys that you want after throwing an item at a pile of paper bricks. You paid $50 to throw a 10-cent bag at a pile of 50-cent paper bricks. And then they gave you a doll that was worth 5 cents. I'm telling you the truth. You paid $20 for a $1 activity with a 10-cent prize. I'd rather they just stop talking. I'd just rather these people stop talking. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that you go through to be with these people. You're going to the fair, man. You're going to the fair. No way. No way. You should be out there riding quad bikes in the jungle and in the desert. You should be on those jet skis tearing down those waves, bro. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you, you should be flying your drone over a volcano, over a dormant volcano. That's what you should be doing. But no, you're at a fair, looking at apples. Oh, you know what? You should have just stayed home and folded towels. You would have probably achieved more. But anyway, this is what I'm saying. These are the ideas these people come up with. And then when they stop talking, they think that's the problem. Your idea was to go have brunch at the fair. After breakfast, and then we have brunch, then we're going to have lunch at the fair. What? We're going to have brunch at the fair, and then we're going to leave the fair and then go have lunch and then pick up something to go home and have dinner. What? After spending the whole day eating apples at the fair. What is going on? Why are you even at the fair? I hate those things. Anyway, that's why you need to stop talking. Just stop coming up with ideas, right? And you think that cutting off communication is the problem. No, your problem is too much talking, too much communication. Let me read this again. Sometimes the most cutting way to sabotage a relationship is by cutting off contact and not responding to your partner's communication attempts. Literally, to be silent and stop engaging in communication entirely. Stonewalling or refusing to engage with a partner makes resolving conflict and understanding the other very difficult. Even if you try, you're not going to understand them. That's the problem. Excuse me. The problem is once they start talking, then you realize you don't understand, and neither do they. You ever have a person have a problem and you give them the solution to the problem and then they proceed to discuss the problem anyway, just to get to the end and tell you the same solution that you told them at the beginning? Because they don't want the solution, they just want to talk. These people want to hear themselves talking and not receive anything. That's why all their marks in high school are fake. I'm telling you. If you go back to their teachers and ask them if the teachers can remember that particular student, they'll tell you all they wanted to do was pass them and get them out of the way. Better to pass them, move them on to the next grade than to have them repeat the grade and stay here to be in your class. All their marks are fake. These people cannot read and they cannot write. The issue with learning disabilities is usually associated with boys, because your teachers are very quick to assert negativity with boys, right? And there's a very good reason for this, and that's because young boys are just a problem. Young boys break things, they tear things, they're rude, they don't even realize what they're doing. They're just such a problem. Young girls want to be liked academically, so they'll do whatever it takes to impress a teacher, especially because the teacher gives them marks, right? This is why also your wife will respond more to her boss than she does to you, because she sees you as one of the students in the classroom and she sees the boss as the teacher or the headmaster, the leader. So you are her equal, whom usually they tear apart in the classroom, and the boss is the one who comes in and resolves things, right? So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. You are not going to be able to resolve any of these problems with these people. I promise you that much. Einstein divorced. The smartest man in the history of the world divorced. Are you smarter than Albert Einstein? You think you are smarter than Albert? If he couldn't pull this off with all of his brain power, this man invented the technology and the science that could take a man to the moon and bring him back with pinpoint accuracy. He could not figure this out. Or he did, and he realized what I realized. And I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm saying it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. You are wasting your time and your money, and you are doing it for absolutely nothing. According to a recent research by Peel and Caltabiano, I'm not even going to try that again, 2021, the most common reasons participants sabotage their relationships were fear. I told you that. Didn't I tell you that these people were losers? I didn't use the word fear specifically, but I told you they were cowards. They were losers. They were inconsequential. They were ineffective and had no power for accomplishment. These people are weak. And this is why they are fearful. The reason somebody walks outside and says, I don't feel safe walking around in the street, it's because you are weak. Fear stems from weakness. Strong people don't fear. Strong people don't fear, especially not other people. Yes, they have concerns, they have things they don't want to lose. You spend your whole life working for something, you don't want to lose that. That's not fear, that's logical. That's absolutely logical. Fear is when you won't even go after the things that you want, but you'll have the audacity to break somebody's earphones and destroy my coffee maker. Let's continue. Fear primarily of being hurt or rejected, but also of commitment. I would say that I would sabotage a relationship because I didn't want to be committed, you know. But then go get a vasectomy, then you don't have to worry about low self esteem and negative self control. This is exactly what I said. These are all the things that I described about these people: cowards, weak, incompetent, unable to do things. How do you get low self esteem when you are able to do something? You know, people that are good at something are confident when they do this. This is why people think athletes are braggadocious, because they're doing something that most people cannot do, but it's easy for them. And they have confidence doing it. So they look like they're braggadocious. But you find the same type of confidence in writers. When somebody's a really good writer and they've written a really good book, they're not really going to waste time reading other people's material, especially if it's inferior, right? And inferior writers might see that as being braggadocious in some way, but it's not. I'm just good at what I do. I'm a basketball player, I'm good at what I do, and it gives me confidence. Because you suck at things. You have low self esteem. You ruined your marriage. You're a bad parent. You're a bad girlfriend. You're a bad boyfriend. You're a bad student. You have no money. You have no assets. You have no income. You can't keep a job. You can't make a relationship work. I mean, just name one area in life where you are successful. Just name one area in life where we can say we measure success on these terms and you have achieved that. All right. Difficulty trusting partners. That's me all over. I don't trust these people. So I might as well not be in a relationship with them. High expectations for relationships where not being met, and there are generally disappointments that the connection was not as good as it should be. Delusion, right? You thought you were going to get butterflies and rainbows. You thought it was going to be, what do they call these things? Fireworks, but none of that. And then the last reason, a lack of relationship skills or tools to do it differently. When you experience the same problems over and over and over again, maybe it's time you just accept that relationships as a technology and a science don't work out. Let me conclude the final bit and then I will end this video. It says, the naked truth: we can all bring baggage from past relationships and experience into romantic relationships in ways that harm them. Often tendencies to put up emotional walls, threaten to leave, passive aggressive communication, belittle a partner, or stay silent can secretly destroy relationships. If you notice you are doing any self sabotaging behaviors, pause. Notice your thoughts, feelings, and how you want to act before you do anything. Just sit with the experience without doing anything. Try not to act impulsively and explore why you're sabotaging your relationship in this way. Are you afraid, insecure about getting close to people? Are you struggling to trust or holding unrealistic expectations for your new mate? As you recognize your motivations, actively work to stop sabotaging yourself. And a lot of men are sabotaging themselves just by staying in these relationships. You are sabotaging yourself just by staying in these relationships. Think of all the things that I described that were broken into my life and compare those things that were broken into your life. And ask yourself, how much more are you going to lose to accommodate the ego of a loser? How much more in terms of physical stuff, in terms of opportunity, in terms of wealth, are you going to lose to accommodate the ego of a loser? Myself, I think I've lost enough. I've spent enough and I've replaced enough. And I said, it's enough. And it was enough. I knew it was enough, so I went to freeze my sperm and get a vasectomy. And there are men who think that, I'm going to get a vasectomy, I'm going to go wild. And yes, you may do that for a while. But then you'll get to a point where you've been with so many of these counterparts and you've just seen so much of their downside that even the good ones aren't worth the effort. And then ultimately what happens is you just get to a point you realize, I have a vasectomy. I don't need to be going through all this. I don't need to keep replacing my things and risking my peace of mind just for this person who, quite frankly, couldn't even afford any of the things that she destroyed. They never replace anything, they just destroy these people. This is all they do. And they did it with their fathers, with their husbands, with their uncles, with their family lineage. And they'll do it with you. Just destroy, destroy, destroy. And they'll do it until they destroy themselves. And then they'll act like a victim and other people will join them and all they'll do is just destroy those people. So don't be like that. Go save your sperm. Get a vasectomy. Protect your seed, protect your solitude, and protect yourself. This is the end of the video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please like this video. Please share it with other people that you think might be interested in becoming a vasectomite or might be interested in this information. Also, please leave a comment to remain part of the conversation, and I promise I'll do my best to respond to each and every single one of them in a timely fashion. Once again, I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, and I'd like to thank you for spending this evening with me, and I'd like to wish you a lovely and wonderful day.